Once upon a time, there was a young man who felt trapped in unhappiness. It seemed like darkness followed him everywhere, making him feel low and lost. But then, he heard whispers of a wise Zen master in a nearby town. One day, summoning all his courage, he decided to seek out this master in search of a solution. When he finally stood before the Zen master, his heart pounded with hope and desperation. "Sir," the young man began, "my life feels like a storm of problems. I'm drowning in sadness. Please show me the way to happiness." The Zen master listened intently, his eyes reflecting the weight of the young man's words. Then, without a word, he rose and left the room, leaving the young man bewildered but patient. Moments stretched into eternity until the Zen master returned, carrying a glass of water and a bowl filled with salt. The Zen master instructed the young man to take a handful of salt from the bowl and pour it into the glass of water, then to drink it. Though confused, the young man followed the master's guidance. As he sipped the water, he grimaced, overwhelmed by the overpowering taste of salt. The Zen master then led the young man to a nearby lake where he asked him to pour the remaining salt into the water. With a swirl of his hand, the young man watched as the salt dissolved into the vastness of the lake. "Now, drink from the lake," the master instructed. Hesitant yet curious, the young man cupped his hands and brought the water to his lips. As the cool, clear water touched his tongue, a sense of purity and clarity washed over him, unlike anything he had ever tasted before. After drinking from the lake, the Zen master inquired, "How does it taste now?" "It tastes good, sir," replied the young man. The master probed further. "Could you taste the salt in this water?" "No, not at all," the young man confirmed. Seated by the tranquil lake, the master gently rested his hand on the young man's shoulder, imparting his wisdom. "My dear friend, the pain of life is akin to that pure salt. It remains constant, neither increasing nor decreasing. However, the extent to which we perceive this pain depends on the vessel we contain it in. When faced with pain, we must expand our perspective. Instead of being a mere glass, become the vastness of a lake. Now consider the glass of water and the lake as symbols of patience. Reflecting on our own lives, we realize that having limited patience, akin to a glass of water, can magnify even minor problems, making them seem insurmountable. Conversely, possessing an abundance of patience, akin to a vast lake, allows us to weather even the most significant challenges with minimal disturbance. Indeed, challenges are inherent in every person's life. There's no escaping them. They are woven into the fabric of our existence, yet it's through these challenges that we find meaning and growth. For without sorrow, there can be no true appreciation of happiness. It is through navigating the depths of adversity that we come to cherish the moments of joy all the more. When we allow ourselves to dwell excessively on our problems, drowning in worry and anxiety, we transform into that bitter glass of water, tainted by even the slightest hint of salt. Hence, when faced with challenges, it's crucial to cultivate patience, akin to the vastness of a lake. By approaching difficulties with this mindset, we can navigate them with resilience and grace. Only through this approach can we truly embrace a life characterized by happiness and peace. Please feel free to type wisdom in the comment section if this message resonates with your spirit. Your participation extends the reach of this message, touching more lives and spreading the message of faith and hope. Stay with us until the end of this video. Open your heart and be ready to receive the uplifting power of this video. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay updated with more content that nourishes the soul and uplifts the spirit. In both our personal and professional lives, we often encounter daunting challenges. Sometimes we find solutions, but other times our attempts only seem to complicate matters further. Whether it's conflicts with our boss, difficulties with our life partners, or struggles with our own habits, we all face obstacles that we yearn to overcome. Let's delve into what Buddha advises on tackling these intricate problems. Through a powerful story, we'll uncover a practical strategy to address our most pressing challenges. One morning, Buddha gathered the assembly of monks who eagerly awaited his wisdom. However, they were puzzled to see Buddha holding a rope in his hand, something he had never done before. Intrigued, they wondered why the great teacher had brought a rope to the assembly. Seated on a raised platform, Buddha remained silent, capturing the attention of all. Instead of speaking, he focused on the rope, methodically tying 3 knots. The monks watched in silence, curious about the purpose of this unusual act. Then, breaking the silence, Buddha posed a question to the assembly. "Can anyone tell me if the rope in my hand is the same as it was before I tied the knots?" One of the monks spoke up, offering his perspective. "It depends on how we perceive the rope. In essence, the substance of the rope remains unchanged, so in that sense, it is still the same. However, if we focus on its external appearance, the knots alter its form, so while the inner essence remains constant, the external appearance has indeed changed." Acknowledging the monk's insight, Buddha rose from his seat. "Yes, you are correct," he affirmed. "Now I shall attempt to untie these knots." With that, he began to pull the rope from both ends, intending to undo the knots. Once again, he turned to the assembly of monks, posing a question. "Can these knots be untied simply by pulling the rope and stretching it from both ends?" Another disciple chimed in, offering his perspective. "Tathagat, if we continue pulling the rope from the ends, the knots will only become tighter, making it increasingly challenging to untie them." Buddha nodded in agreement. "Indeed, you are correct," he acknowledged. "Now, can someone suggest what we should do to open these knots?" The disciple replied once more. "Tathagat, before anything else, we must approach the rope closely and carefully observe the knot. By understanding how the knot was tied in the first place, we can unravel its intricacies. Without this understanding, it is nearly impossible to untangle the knot." Buddha nodded in agreement. "Indeed, you have grasped the essence of this teaching," he affirmed. "Before we can hope to untangle the knots of attachment, anger, and suffering, we must first observe and understand them. Rushing to solve our problems without understanding their nature can only exacerbate them. This," Buddha continued, "is the fundamental question we must ask ourselves before facing any challenge. Rushing headlong into solutions without understanding the root cause of our problems is akin to pulling at both ends of the rope, tightening the knots further. We often find ourselves trapped in this cycle," Buddha concluded. "We must break free from this pattern by taking the time to understand our challenges before attempting to solve them. We often seek quick fixes and shortcuts when faced with challenges, hoping for ready-made solutions. But by rushing into solutions without understanding the true nature of our problems, we risk making them even more complex and difficult. To navigate our challenges effectively, we must practice mindfulness. Being mindful allows us to approach our challenges with clarity and insight, helping us find sustainable solutions. One day, a farmer's donkey accidentally fell into a dry well. The farmer racked his brain to find a way to rescue the donkey, but after several hours had passed, the donkey was still in the well, crying out in pain. Finally, the farmer decided to give up. He thought the donkey was old and not worth the trouble to rescue, but regardless, the well needed to be filled up. So the farmer called upon his neighbors to help bury the donkey in the well to end its suffering. With each neighbor armed with a shovel, they began to shovel dirt into the well. When the donkey realized its situation, it initially cried out miserably, but surprisingly, after a while, it became quiet. Curious, the farmer peeked over and was astonished. When the dirt shoveled into the well fell onto the donkey's back, its reaction was remarkable. It shook the dirt off and then stepped on top of the accumulating pile. In this way, the donkey shook off all the dirt shoveled onto it and then briskly walked away, leaving the amazed onlookers behind. Just like the donkey's situation, in the journey of life, sometimes we inevitably find ourselves trapped in wells, with all sorts of dirt being poured over us. The secret to escaping these wells is to shake off the dirt and stand on top of it. Indeed, the various difficulties and setbacks we encounter in life are like the dirt dumped on us. However, viewed from a different perspective, they also serve as stepping stones. As long as we can calmly extricate ourselves, what initially seemed like an attempt to bury us alive, due to the donkey's different attitude towards adversity, actually ended up helping it, which is also one of the elements of changing destiny. If we can face difficulties with certainty and composure, help often lies hidden within adversity. It all depends on ourselves, learning to let go of gains and losses, and bravely moving forward towards our ideals. We should continuously build confidence, hope, and unconditional love, as these are the tools to help us escape from the wells of life and find ourselves. Once upon a time, in a quaint village in India, there resided a young man named Shiva. Life seemed to cast a perpetual shadow of sadness upon him, a burden he reluctantly carried. Despite his earnest efforts, Shiva encountered failure at every turn, be it in his studies, ventures, or family life. Troubles seemed to trail him relentlessly, a never-ending cascade of challenges. Overwhelmed by the weight of his struggles, Shiva found himself sinking into the depths of debt. Desperate to escape the suffocating grip of his problems, he made the difficult decision to abandon his family and flee from his troubles. One of Shiva's friends offered him some advice, saying, "Your life belongs to you alone, and the decision to run away is yours to make. However, before you go, please hear me out. I believe it might benefit you greatly. In a Buddhist monastery nestled deep within the nearby village's forest resides a Zen master named Dharma. He's a truly enlightened soul who has guided many towards liberation from their life's trials, granting them lasting peace. I'm confident that meeting him will help you find solutions to your problems." Intrigued by his friend's suggestion, Shiva decided to heed his words. Perhaps visiting this wise Zen master could offer some clarity, he thought to himself. Determined to seek guidance before making any drastic decisions, Shiva embarked on a journey to the Buddhist monastery the following morning. After a long walk, he finally arrived at the monastery, nestled amidst the serene hills. The atmosphere in the monastery was serene, enveloped in a peaceful silence, broken only by the gentle rustle of the wind and the melodious twittering of birds. As Shiva ventured further, he encountered a small group of 4 or 5 individuals engaged in deep conversation. Curious, Shiva approached and joined them, soon discovering that they, like him, sought relief from life's burdens. After a while, a venerable old monk emerged, and respectfully everyone bowed before him, taking their seats. Addressing the gathering, the old monk, Varma, greeted them warmly. "Good morning, my friends. I trust you are all in good health." One among the group, troubled by life's trials, spoke up, "Oh, Master, I am not well. My heart aches with worry. Despite my wealth, my children have strayed. They squander their days and nights in extravagance, consumed by vices like drugs and gambling, shattering everything I've built. Master, please offer me guidance and solutions." After hearing everyone's concerns, the old monk rose quietly and departed, leaving everyone, including Shiva, somewhat bewildered. An air of anticipation lingered in his absence as they waited in anticipation. Eventually, Zen Master Dharma returned, bearing some papers in his hands. "I understand the weight of your life's burdens," he began, "and I am here to offer you relief. But first, there is a simple task you must complete." Eagerly, the group nodded in agreement, urging the Zen master to share their instructions. "Here," Dharma said, handing out 6 white papers. "Each of you should write down your main life problem on one of these papers, then sign and date it." The group exchanged curious glances, but each accepted their paper, ready to fulfill the master's request. Shiva pondered to himself, "Is this the task, to list down our problems all at once?" Without hesitation, he took a paper and began to jot down the challenges weighing heavy on his heart. As Shiva wrote, the others followed suit, each pouring their troubles onto the blank sheet before them. In mere moments, the papers were folded, ready to be presented to the Zen master. With a gentle smile, the old monk instructed, "Form a circle, my friends." Without question, they obeyed, arranging themselves in a circle as directed. "Now," the Zen master continued, "pass the folded paper in your hand to the person next to you. Then open the paper you receive and read its contents silently." A sense of anticipation hung in the air as they followed the master's guidance, awaiting the revelation of each other's burdens. As Shiva received the paper from his left, he unfolded it and began to read. The words revealed the anguish of a soul, adrift in the vastness of loneliness. "My life is miserable," it began, recounting the loss of parents and the fruitless search for companionship in marriage. A gentle smile tugged at the corners of Shiva's lips as he contemplated the words before him. Is this truly a problem? He wondered silently. Life is transient, and the passing of parents is an inevitable part of the journey. As for marriage, perhaps being unattached brings its own freedoms and joys. Reflecting on his own circumstances, Shiva realized the weight of responsibilities and debts that often accompany family life. In contrast, the simplicity of his own existence seemed like a blessing, unburdened by the complexities of marital obligations and familial troubles. Shiva raised his head from the paper, observing everyone around him. He noticed that despite the seriousness of the problems written down, there was a soft laughter shared among them. Even the old monk wore a gentle smile. The Zen master turned to Shiva and asked, "What would you do if one of the problems written on the paper in your hand was your own?" Shiva replied, "Oh, master, upon deeper reflection, I don't see it as a problem at all. It's merely an event unfolding in the passage of time." The old monk chuckled once more and instructed, "Very well, Shiva. Pass the paper to the next person once again." Shiva passed the paper to the person beside him and received a new one. As he unfolded it and read the words written on it, he learned about another person's dream. They had dreamt of becoming the best actor in the country since childhood and had tried their luck in the national competition 11 times. Yet despite their efforts, they had not succeeded. Feeling that this was their last chance, they feared that their life's purpose would remain unfulfilled if they didn't succeed this time. Turning to the Zen master, they pleaded for a solution to their predicament. As Shiva read the new paper, he found himself smiling even more. He couldn't help but think, is this really a problem? This person just needs to focus more and practice harder. With dedication, success is surely within reach. Reflecting on the situation, Shiva couldn't understand why people came with what he perceived as trivial issues. He thought to himself, if they were in my shoes, they'd realize where the real challenges lie. Looking around, Shiva noticed that everyone was laughing at the problems they had just read. When the Zen master inquired about the complexity of the problem this time, Shiva replied confidently, "No, master, it's not complicated at all. It's just a matter of perspective. With determination, practice, and concentration, this problem can be easily overcome in a matter of days. I don't consider it a problem at all." The Zen master chuckled and turned to another person, asking if the problem written on their paper was a serious one. After reading the contents, the individuals shared their perspective. "I am very poor," they began. "So every aspect of life feels like a challenge to me. Without money, there is no happiness in my family." Reflecting on their words, they continued, "However, I believe this is a problem of our own making. Our current circumstances are a result of our actions and daily choices. True happiness isn't dependent on wealth. In truth, this isn't much of a problem at all." Once again, the Zen master instructed everyone to exchange their papers, ensuring that each person received their own problem back. Then he asked if the problem they now held was truly difficult. In unison, they all agreed, "Yes, master, this is indeed the real and difficult problem." At this declaration, the old monk erupted into hearty laughter, remarking on the irony of the situation. "Look how amusing it is. Until now, the problems of others didn't seem like problems at all, and you all knew the solutions so confidently." Upon reading their own problems, however, the perspective shifted. Suddenly, the challenges that had seemed trivial when faced by others felt overwhelming. It dawned on them that their own struggles were indeed the most formidable. In this realization, they understood that the difficulty of a problem lies not in its nature, but in our perception and perspective. From childhood, we're often taught that life should be smooth sailing, free of troubles, and filled with joy. However, this misconception can lead us to feel overwhelmed when faced with challenges. It's like the elephant that struggles in the mud, only sinking deeper the harder it tries. When problems arise, the first step is to calm ourselves. It's impossible to think clearly and make wise decisions when our minds are in turmoil. It's crucial to remember that no problem is bigger than life itself, and we are the root cause of our own challenges. Life naturally presents us with a mix of big and small problems. Avoiding or running away from them only makes matters worse. Instead, we must confront them head-on. All successful individuals have encountered and overcome challenges. By facing our problems directly, we gain the strength and resilience needed to navigate life's ups and downs. Just as minerals endure the fiery furnace and hammers without breaking, so too can our resilience be tested and strengthened through adversity. Like the transformation of iron into gold when plunged into cold water, our challenges can lead us to precious insights and growth. To unravel the root of a problem, we must delve deep into its causes and think critically. By understanding the source, we can uncover solutions and chart a course of action. Break down the problem into manageable steps, considering the time needed for each phase. Then, take decisive action to address the issue head-on. Though darkness may cloud our present, time moves forward, and tomorrow's light will shine brighter. Yet, fleeing from problems and dwelling in worry only prolongs our suffering. Anxiety traps us in a cycle of despair, preventing us from finding solutions. Remember, no problem has ever been solved by worrying alone. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and face them with courage and determination. In doing so, we can transcend adversity and emerge stronger on the other side. Many of the problems we face in life are of our own making. We burden ourselves with excessive expectations, losing sight of the simplicity of everyday living. Even the slightest unmet expectation can spiral into a perceived problem. The key is to embrace simplicity. Lead a simple life, keep your thoughts uncomplicated, and approach everything with ease. By living without expectations and not relying on others, we can avoid many so-called problems. Self-empowerment is crucial in navigating life's challenges. Shiva asked Master Dharma about self-empowerment, to which the Zen master replied, "Self-empowerment comes from self-knowledge, which is attainable through meditation. With self-empowerment, you no longer judge experiences as good or bad. Instead, you maintain control over your thoughts and actions, leading to a life of eternal peace." With deep reverence, Shiva bowed before the Zen master, his hands folded in humility. "Zen master," he began, "with the profound lessons we have received today, we are equipped to embark on a journey towards a renewed life of joy and peace. Once there lived a boy in a town. During his summer holidays, he often visited his grandfather, with whom he spent a lot of time playing. One day, the boy expressed his desire to become successful when he grew up, and asked his grandfather for advice on how to achieve success. Grandfather nodded thoughtfully and decided to illustrate his point through a practical lesson. He took the boy to a nearby nursery and purchased 2 small plants. Upon returning home, he planted one plant in a pot and placed it inside the house, while he planted the other plant outside in the garden. Turning to his grandson, grandfather posed a question. "Which of these 2 plants do you think will grow better in the future?" The boy pondered for a while before responding, "I believe the plant inside the house will grow better because it's protected from various dangers, unlike the plant outside, which faces risks like harsh sunlight, storms, rain, and animals." Grandfather smiled knowingly and replied, "Let's wait and see what happens in the future." Years passed, and the boy returned to visit his grandfather once more. Upon seeing his grandson, the boy immediately brought up the question he had asked before about how to be successful in life. Grandfather smiled and agreed to answer, but first suggested they revisit the plants they had bought a few years ago. Grandfather led the boy to the spot where they had planted the small plant in a pot. They were amazed to see that the once small plant had flourished into a big, healthy plant. Next, they ventured to the plant they had planted outside the house. To their astonishment, they found that the small plant had transformed into a magnificent tree, its branches stretching wide and offering shade to those who passed by. Turning to his grandson, grandfather posed a question. "Which plant grew more? Which is more successful?" The boy pondered for a moment before replying, "The one we planted outside." Perplexed, he continued, "But Grandpa, how is it possible? The outdoor plant must have faced so many dangers, yet it grew so big." Grandfather smiled warmly and explained, "Yes, the plant outside had to endure many challenges. However, facing and overcoming those challenges ultimately led to its remarkable growth and success." Grandfather explained that the plant outside had the freedom to spread its roots as much as it wanted. Despite facing challenges like storms and heavy rain, these difficulties actually made its roots stronger. Today, it stands resilient, unaffected by small storms. In contrast, the plant they had planted inside remained small and weak. It hadn't endured the harsh conditions of the outside world. Looking earnestly at his grandson, Grandfather imparted a valuable lesson. "My son, always remember that unless you face struggles and overcome difficulties in life, you won't achieve true success. Comfortable choices may seem appealing, but they won't lead to growth. However, if you're willing to embrace challenges and persevere through hardships, no goal is beyond your reach. Therefore, never view problems as obstacles, but rather as stepping stones toward success." The boy took a deep breath and gazed at the tree before him, his grandfather's words echoing in his mind. In life, the obstacles we encounter may initially seem like adversaries. However, they have the power to make us stronger and more successful. Often, challenges and difficulties leave us feeling disheartened and lacking the courage to persevere. Yet the story of the two plants teaches us an invaluable lesson. Instead of fearing challenges, we should embrace them as opportunities for growth. Just like the plant that endured the elements outside, facing natural calamities, strengthened its roots and allowed it to flourish into a mighty tree. Indeed, while the plant inside was shielded from natural calamities, it remained small and weak. From this, we learn that the more difficulties and challenges we encounter in life, the wider the path to success becomes. Challenges teach us not to fear risks and to step outside our comfort zones. When we confront obstacles, we have the chance to learn and grow stronger. We develop resilience and determination, qualities essential for success. Certainly, overcoming challenges is no easy feat. There will be moments of defeat and discouragement. Yet it's crucial to remember that these setbacks are temporary. If we glean lessons from them and persist in moving forward, we will ultimately triumph over any challenges that come our way. So, the next time you encounter a challenge or find yourself facing difficult times in your life, don't give up. Instead, seize the opportunity to learn and grow. Always remember that the challenges you face today have the potential to make you stronger and more successful tomorrow. Embrace these obstacles as chances for personal development and advancement. With perseverance and determination, you can overcome any hurdle and emerge even stronger on the other side. Once upon a time in a village, there lived a man who was constantly troubled by various problems, leaving him unhappy with his life. One day, he learned that the renowned Zen master, along with his disciple, had arrived in town. Determined to seek guidance, the man decided to visit the Zen master. In the evening, he made his way to the place where the Zen master was staying. After patiently waiting, he finally had the opportunity to meet the master. With a heavy heart, the man expressed his discontent, saying, "O wise one, I am deeply unhappy with my life. I am constantly surrounded by problems, whether it's work-related issues, health concerns, conflicts at home, or other challenges. Please, show me a way to put an end to my troubles, so that I may find peace and happiness." The Zen master smiled warmly and said, "My dear friend, I will provide you with a solution tomorrow morning, but in the meantime, could you do me a small favor?" The man agreed, curious about what the master would ask of him. The Zen master continued, "A rich merchant in this town has gifted me 100 camels. I am taking them with me on my journey. I would appreciate it if you could look after them for the night. When all 100 camels have settled down, you may also rest for the night." With these instructions, the Zen master retired to his tent, and the man set out to care for the camels for the evening. The next morning, the Zen master approached the man and inquired, "Dear friend, did you have a good sleep last night?" The man's expression turned somber as he replied, "Sir, I couldn't sleep a wink. I tried my best, but I couldn't get all the camels to sit together at once. Some camels sat down, but others remained standing despite my efforts. It was a restless night with camels sitting and standing intermittently." The Zen master smiled knowingly and responded, "If I'm not mistaken, this is precisely what occurred last night. Some camels naturally settled down on their own, while others sat due to your efforts. However, there were still some that remained standing, despite your attempts. Eventually, with the passage of time, even those camels found their way to rest. The man nodded in understanding as the Zen master continued. Now, do you see the lesson in this? The problems in our lives are much like those camels, the Zen master explained. Some will resolve themselves naturally, while others will require your efforts to overcome. However, there will always be some problems that may persist despite your best efforts. In such cases, it's essential to trust in the timing of life. Just as you couldn't get all the camels to sit simultaneously, some issues will only resolve themselves in due time. He emphasized, if you focus solely on solving one problem, you may find another one waiting in its place. Instead of becoming overwhelmed, learn to accept the ebb and flow of life and trust that challenges will be resolved in their own time. Indeed, life is filled with problems. It's an inevitable part of the journey. At times, the challenges may seem overwhelming, while other times, they may be more manageable. However, regardless of their intensity, problems are simply a natural aspect of life. Yet it's crucial not to dwell on these problems constantly. Instead of allowing them to consume your thoughts, it's essential to set them aside and keep moving forward. Focus on growing and striving towards the purpose of your life, even amidst the challenges. If we reflect on our own lives, we'll realize that this is a shared experience among all of us. We often believe that happiness will come when everything in our lives is perfect. However, the truth is, there will never be a time when everything is entirely without problems. Challenges will always be present, but it's how we navigate through them that truly defines our journey. Life's journey is inevitably intertwined with challenges and obstacles. These trials may manifest in various forms, be it health concerns, career setbacks, familial discord, or other unforeseen circumstances. However, waiting for all aspects of life to align perfectly before embracing happiness is a fruitless pursuit. Just as the man struggled to manage the camels throughout the night, we must recognize that some problems will naturally resolve themselves, while others may require our persistent efforts. Moreover, it's crucial to acknowledge that the pursuit of happiness isn't contingent upon the absence of problems. Rather, true happiness stems from our ability to navigate through life's ups and downs with resilience, optimism, and a sense of purpose. Embracing the challenges as opportunities for growth and learning allows us to cultivate inner strength and wisdom. Therefore, instead of fixating on an elusive state of perfection, let us strive to find contentment and joy in the midst of life's imperfections. By focusing on our goals, nurturing meaningful relationships, and prioritizing self-care, we can create a fulfilling and enriching life journey. As we reflect on the lessons learned from the tale of the man and the camels, let us remember to approach life's challenges with grace, determination, and a steadfast commitment to our personal growth. With this mindset, we can navigate through life's uncertainties with confidence and resilience, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity for growth, and every setback is a stepping stone towards greater fulfillment. Leave a like for this video and share it at least one time to help us reach more people. Spread the gospel and change more lives by comment using the word wisdom. To further support the dissemination of this message, consider sharing this video with a friend or family member. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay updated with more content that nourishes the soul and uplifts the spirit. See you at next video.